Well, the Rays have added an arm, a lefty at that.
Yeah, maybe can we talk about his role? Are they buying high? Are they buying low? Let's talk about it right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays. You can also find us on all the other traditional podcasting platforms. And we are always accepting mailbag questions. LockedOnRays@gmail.com. Well, the Rays made a move for an arm, a lefty, a guy by the name of Tyler Alexander, claimed him off waivers from the Detroit Tigers. So the 29-year-old is on the Rays 40-man roster, which I think right now is set at exactly 40 men. And it's interesting with Alexander. He is arbitration eligible, and I think the projections are like $1.8 to $2 million. So it seems like, yeah, the Rays like him enough to pay him that amount of money in arbitration. Otherwise, why would they go through the trouble and hassle and headache of making this maneuver?
Yeah, they must really like what he can offer. And if you look at his stats in 2023, first of all, he was hurt for basically half of the year. On July 3rd, he was put on the 60-day IL, at least retroactive to July 3rd, a lat strain. There was no surgery, but he didn't pitch the rest of the season. This doesn't mean that he's not going to be ready for opening day. He will be. He started throwing flat ground in September, so he should have a regular off season per se. Now, this is a career year for Tyler Alexander. You look at the strikeout rate, boom, it increased at peaks it has never been before. Walks went down absolutely in 44 innings. This guy allowed 44 hits, which, okay, fine. 5 walks, Kevin. 5 walks. I cannot tell you how amazing that is to hear from a relief arm. You're not giving free bases. It's like you take the hit. Sure, give me the hit, but I'm not gonna give you free men on base.
Right.
You know, you earn yourself, and I love that. So when you put all these things together, it does seem like maybe they're buying a bit on the high side, but it's not like they're giving up anything. So it's really, I think
it's just $50,000, I guess, to the Tigers, and then you pay him whatever he's going to be due in arbitration after tendering him a contract. And it seems like, yeah, we were fine letting go of Josh Fleming and Jalen Beeks. We need some sort of lefty to help steer the ship and give us depth and give us another addition beyond Colin Poche and Garrett Clevenger. And yeah, Tyler Alexander seems like a really good choice. And the Detroit Tigers had all intention of hoping and wanting to bring him back, and they probably have to feel like the worst right now. Of all teams to claim one of our pitchers, it's the Rays. Like, they are probably livid inside the front office of like, oh, great, now we're going to see Tyler Alexander become an all-star and play his way into the next great no-name, not really a no-name, but obscure reliever who does amazing things in a Tampa Bay uniform, which I certainly would not be surprised if that happens.
And again, it's so clear in the Detroit Tigers fandom of Isaac Paredes after his, he had a really good season last year, but, not like, whoa, this season, it's definitely a whoa season. And so like Tiger fans have been just livid about that. So I 100% agree with you. The fact that it was the Rays that get Tyler Alexander, I think might have probably it's salt on the wound for Tigers fans. But yeah, he is a very intriguing guy. you mentioned a couple of X-rays there. He does fill a role that we needed, which was if you're not going to give Jalen Beeks the roster spot. And by the way, you said Tyler Alexander was going to earn $1.8 million. That's also the estimate for Jalen Beeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a 1-for-1. Hey, let's upgrade the bullpen. We can get a guy that can give us 2-3 innings, just like Jalen can, but with better numbers and at the same rate. Why would you not do this? This is as shrewd of a pickup as Harold Ramirez was off waivers.
Oh, yeah. If you're a Rays fan, you should be excited about it. And we'll have more to discuss on him. But first, we have to tell you this. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel. They are America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action than right this very moment. The app is super easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So go ahead and do the thing. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn, LOCKEDON, to kick off the NFL season. I'll repeat it again. FanDuel.com/LockedOn to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, they are the official partner of the NFL. So with Tyler Alexander, there's a lot to like about him. First, his mustache. Second, his nickname, Todd the Painter. I assume that either maybe has multiple meanings. Maybe one, he looks like a painter to some. Two, I would imagine that he's painting the strike zone and painting the corners, which if you watch highlights of him, he's able to do with the fastball. In fact, he's got like 5 pitches. He has a cutter, he has a 4-seamer, he has a changeup, he has a sinker, he has a slider, and I'm really impressed in watching, very minimal highlights and action of him. Just the glove side angle and work that he provides from the left side, and it seems like he's really able to control the ball at the bottom of the zone and can handle lefties and righties. I haven't looked at the number specifically, but he's been used in both of those roles there. But what really intrigues me, I guess I should say concern I have is you mentioned the numbers from 2023, the walk rate and the strikeout rate and so forth. And I don't know how this came about or what the specifics of it are, the details, but he did give up 8 dingers in 44 innings, which is concerning, especially at that ballpark in Detroit. Again, maybe 0 of them were allowed in Detroit and they were all on the road in the AL Central or whatever, but that is something to circle and cross your fingers on. But and I know he was hurt in 2023, but before that, something that I'm really looking forward to, what he did in 2022 and 2021, pitching over 100 innings. I see this guy as a multi-inning bulk reliever, almost an extra starter, if you will. And maybe that's something that the Rays have eyes on going forward, similar to a Jeffrey Springs or a Drew Rasmussen of your reliever, but let's see if we can stretch you out into a starter role. And he has, I would think, the repertoire to be able to do that. It's not just like he's a power pitcher, 8th inning reliever who throws 98 a couple of times and he's done with it. No, he's actually, he has some depth to his game, if you will.
Yes, depth. And that's exactly what they're doing. Okay, so he can cover you for 2 innings. He can cover you for 3 innings. But the Rays are very familiar with the opener. In fact, they're the pioneers of it, right? So you could see a scenario where if somebody goes down and your bench is a little bit thin, well, hey, Tyler, can you take the ball after an opener? And we basically got ourselves a starter for that day. You can see that happening. You also talked about the home runs. I have them right here. Okay. So he allowed 1 to the Rays in that opening series. So 1 at Tropicana, 1 at Minute Maid Park, 1 in Milwaukee. That's already 3 of the 8.
Okay.
then 1 in Philadelphia, and so in 1 in Colorado. So
Okay.
5 of the 8 were not in Detroit. So that's it. That's that you can again breathe a little bit better.
Yeah.
There weren't monster shots in Comerica Park. But another thing you mentioned with this pitch is the kitchen sink kind of thing, mentality, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Every pitch at least hits 9%. So as a hitter, you can't just say, well, it's never going to happen. Like you potentially you could. I think the 9% was I had it right here. I forgot it. 9%. The slider. So it's not like the slider never happens. Maybe you could take it off, but then if you take it off in the wrong moment from your mind, strike 3, looking. So I think this is as again, I'll say it again, shrewd. I think this is a shrewd pickup. I can't see anything but good things right now from TA, and the mustache. I have to agree with you. It's a look, and it's a good look.
It's clutch. It comes in handily, and who knows? Maybe the Rays, change his approach to the extent of, hey, we've got a really good defense behind you in the infield and outfield. So if you're able to change a little this, change a little that, and induce more contact ground balls, whatever it is, our infielders will clean it up. So I think that's something that just going to, I don't know what the Tigers defensive metrics were as a team, but I would imagine they probably weren't as good as the Rays. So that's something that could also impact him and affect him. And if you're Tyler Alexander, you have to feel happy too about going to an organization that's going somewhere, that's been somewhere, that has a history, that can, Bob Stevenson might get, the projections say, the experts say he could get $30 to $35 million in free agency. Sean Armstrong was among 24 relievers nominated for All MLB. So that's something he could be looking at and saying, or again, even go fellow lefty, Jeffrey Springs, DFA'd, nowhere to be found in the Red Sox organization, and now he's on a multi-year contract, healthy or unhealthy. So this should only be a benefit for him and his family and his agent and everybody else surrounding him.
If you're a Detroit player and you're going to Tampa Bay, you've got to be excited just because of the winning culture, right?
Yeah.
You haven't won in Detroit since forever. I think their last winning season was 2014, something like that. So you don't have the winning possibility. So if you're just traded or picked up, it's already a positive, right?
Yeah.
And then you're a pitcher now, and you're going to the Rays. That's another positive you can have in your bag. I agree with you. I think this is for him such an opportunity to use it as a platform to better himself. And if you're looking at career years for 2023 for the painter, I think with Kyle Snyder's help in the front office and everything that they do and how they talk to pitchers and how they are able to identify this is what you do best, throw it down the middle, let the stuff actually work for the pitch, get ahead in the count, hit strikes, get the battle is getting to 2 strikes as fast as you can. That is just going to make him even a better pitcher than he already showed in 2023. This is, I think, for him, it's going to be huge. And you're talking about, what Bob Stevenson can get. This is a guy who already is in arbitration. So if he puts up really good numbers during his arbitration period, hey, guess what? When you get hit free agency, you might be already looking at gaudy numbers like even better than Bob Stevenson,
Yeah.
So I think that's huge, man. Good factor there.
Yeah, no, and I just like the track record overall, the fact that he made his MLB debut in 2019, and since then has logged 341 in a third innings, 4.38 ERA in his 5-year career, all with the Tigers. I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at, and I would imagine he would only improve and get better in a Rays uniform. And one of the front office execs with the Tigers said this about Alexander following him getting claimed by the Rays, quote, "With Tyler, he's such a great presence for us in our clubhouse. it didn't feel great to designate him given his situation coming off an injury. We had to make our decision there. It's funny because I think Topkin wrote, somewhat of wasn't really a full length dissertation on Tyler Alexander, but some of the Detroit media outlets really went in depth on Tyler Alexander and what he provides and what the Tigers might be missing out on down the line. So with that, it will be interesting going forward how this move impacts the rest of the roster, because we have a busy week. Tuesday at 6 p.m. is the deadline to add prospects in advance of the Rule 5 draft. And then Friday at 8 p.m. is the deadline to tender contracts. The Rays have 12 arbitration eligible players. So there's going to be a lot of moves and maneuvers coming down the pike. I'll just say this, according to a write-up by Topkin, he expects, or the rumblings are, that as far as the Rule 5 prospects that could be added, he mentioned Austin Shenton, Anthony Molina, who quite frankly I've never heard of, and then Cole Wilcox. And then as far as Friday's tender deadline, he threw up the possibility or the likelihood of Harold Ramirez being traded by or before then.
Yeah. So it really is a busy week of transactions. So Wednesday's episode is already written. Who were the names that were protected on that Tuesday deadline? That'll be really interesting. We've had our roster crunch episode. It was a 2-parter, so if you haven't watched it or listened to it, definitely go back and play along with us with the roster. But yeah, it's crunch time, man. I feel like it's a lot of bureaucratic moves that we are going to see in the beginning of an off season. But when you start throwing around names like Harold Ramirez, then it starts to get serious. I think Bethancourt was a big name, but I think people kind of not soured on him, but just, cooled off on him as the season went on. And the Rays front office and coaching staff also cooled off on him too. But a guy like Harold Ramirez, that one's going to sting, because we are all seeing it coming and it has to be done. Due to, the fact that he just doesn't have a position. You can't just put him in the outfield all the time. You can't put him at first base all the time. You're burning a DH spot for him. So you have to.
Yeah, but that's a pretty good DH spot to burn for a guy that hits 313 for you and 400 at bats.
But how many guys?
12 home runs but 24 doubles. I mean, not 24 doubles, 19 doubles. They had 24 doubles the previous season. But
how many guys in Rays history have hit 313 in 400 at bats?
Yeah,
not many.
I mean, he's not that far off from winning a batting title, I would think.
He's not. No, he can hit. He can hit. So he can hit mostly against lefties as well. Righties, he's a little bit below average, but that's the thing, man. It's going to really hurt, especially a team like, Kloski always says this, a team that doesn't string a lot of hits. It's a lot of strikeout and hopefully a bomb happens. Taking away Harold Ramirez from the lineup,
it'll sting.
It'll sting a lot for the viewing pleasure of the fandom to that likes to see hits happen. That's going to take, unfortunately, pun intended, a hit.
Yeah, you take him out of the equation, and then you may or may not be without Wander. Offense could be a struggle to watch at times. I would just hope that if and when they trade him, that they get something of substance, something of value. It's most likely, as usual, going to be a lottery ticket, but at least something that gives us a little bit of hope and potential to do something, because guys that hit 300 consistently over their MLB careers don't grow on trees. Whether you're playing a position, not playing a position, whether you're providing power, not providing power, that is a valuable aspect, especially in this day and age of the game. So I'll be interested to see how that shakes out going forward for sure. So that's so if you had to guess, by Friday, 8 p.m., is Harold Ramirez on the roster or off the roster? Yes or no?
I'd say no. I'd say that this is crunch time. This is
Oof.
get
They're working
get
the phones. They're working overtime.
They're working the phones right now. Yeah.
Eric Neander's definitely working overtime because he doesn't have a general manager at this present moment. He's relying more upon John Daniels, the senior advisor for the Rays, who I wonder, the Rangers have to give him a ring. After all he did to mold and manufacture and put together those stars in that roster, and then you get canned in 2022, and then lo and behold, the organization wins a ring, which he probably feels crappy about it. Like, I built all that, I get fired, and then nobody's talking about me. Everybody's talking about Chris Young, but I did a lot of the legwork and the groundwork to get us to that point. So I would think he might get a little something. But yeah, and that's another thing too. I mean, the Rays have yet to fill that general manager position, which is probably going to come internally, but that's something that is pretty critical this time and point of the season, the off season. Yet I know I get from their perspective, they don't want to rush it. They definitely want to take their time to name a successor. So it's, more or less all hands on deck. I mean, maybe it's a trial run or a test case for those guys that are candidates. Like, all right, who really makes a difference? Who really steps up and provides really good insight, advice, strategy to move the team forward and along? And whoever is kind of the winner out of that group of 3, 4, 5 is going to get the role.
And I'm sure that it's Carlos who has the upper hand right now, being the assistant GM. So they're definitely working in a group right now. I don't doubt that Neander's putting up some overtime. But yeah, it's a busy week. They're all working together, and hopefully, you do anything that you can get out of Harold Ramirez. I think it's a victory, because this was just a pickup. So you're really just turning a profit, quote unquote, on this transaction. So that's pretty cool. But maybe it's not only Harold Ramirez though, Kev, right? Because it could be a Manny Margot situation as well, where you are all offloading him, maybe together, maybe not. Maybe you see a situation where a prospect that's highly rated gets joined with a Manny Margot or a Harold Ramirez in order to get something more value back. I mean, you could see a plenty of different scenarios here.
Conspiracy theory: the Rays trade, offload, ship Manny Margot and Harold Ramirez. They use that money to help bolster a long-term contract extension for Tyler Glasnow. And by the weekend, he's got a 5-6 year contract extension worthy of $125 to $150 million.
Okay.
I'm sure somebody's thrown that out on X or Twitter.
I don't doubt it at all.
Yeah.
I don't doubt
it. All right. Getting back to the main topic and the main course here before wrapping up, Tyler Anderson, over under 90 innings pitched in 2024 for the Rays.
I'm really hoping under.
Okay.
Something
so you
went
want
wrong.
It to be under, to where he's not really stretched out as a starter, but he's used in a specialized bullpen role.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to be like 70 innings. I think would be great, because that means that he probably didn't have to step up into the rotation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Now, what was his ERA in 2023? I don't have it all.
4.50.
4.50. Okay, I'll switch that up. Over under 3.99 ERA in 2024.
I'm gonna go under.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see what happens. Man, and here's as an aside, when the Rays added Tyler Alexander, I thought it was Tyler Anderson. I kept getting those two mixed up. Tyler Alexander, Tyler Anderson, and there might be multiple Tyler Andersons for all I know. There's a Jase Anderson. There's too much going on with the pitchers from that standpoint. But
2 first names too.
Yeah, that's
Jason
true.
Adam, Tyler Alexander.
Yeah, Adam, Alexander, Anderson. There's a lot going on there. Yeah. So yeah, hit it in the comments what you think. What give an entire prediction line for Tyler Alexander and what type of role you think he'll provide and foster for this group. So, clearly the Rays, after they had their eyes set on an upgrade from Jalen Beeks and Josh Fleming, and it's like, okay, we think that we can do better with this guy, and he's got a a really strong track record going back to his time with the Tigers. All right. In the meantime, thank you for listening. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you on Wednesday.